Okay, let's see some computer cases. As you can see here, you see the computer cases. These are very nice looking, you know. They have the LED light, they have the fans and everything. For instance, this one, and you're thinking, okay, well, it might be good. Just click and buy it. It has a lot of stars, but there is more than that. So I'm going to show you a few cases so that way you can see which one is good, which one is not. Because even if it costs maybe like 3-4 times more than this, even if you pay like 150 for a computer case, it doesn't mean that it's going to be good, at least if you want to upgrade it. Because many times people buy the computer case just because the looks, you know, for aesthetics, but it doesn't, they don't think, you know, anything beyond than that. So I'm going to show you here. For instance, I open few links here so that way you can see. If you see, you know, closely, it seems okay, looks nice, looks like nice to me. Most people will agree with this, and I'm going to show you the main thing. So for instance, if you see here, this is the main thing. So if you have to replace, for instance, the CPU, and you have to replace the heatsink, you will need this hole. If you don't have this hole, you know, it's going to be more difficult for you. You will have to remove the motherboard, the whole motherboard, put it back, and it's going to take longer. So if you like to change, you know, the heatsink maybe once a year or every 2 years, maybe you like, you know, a water cooler, or maybe you like, you know, something that is going to be huge but without a water, let's say the passive heatsink, you can do that very easily without removing that. You have less risk because, you know, every time you put the motherboard in, every time you take the motherboard out and you put it in, always you have a risk, you know, that something may short, or maybe you don't hook up you know, some connectors or something like that. And then you may have the risk, you know, that something is not going to work the way it's supposed to be, and then it's going to take you longer, you know, to troubleshoot it. But if you just remove the heatsink and the CPU, replace it, and that's it, and without doing anything else, the risk is less. So this is the main thing. I'm going to show you later another computer cases that they don't have this hole. And if you don't know this, you know, this is your first time building a computer, you're going to have some issues. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to make your life more difficult, and the price is going to be about the same. So as you can see here, we have another one here, Thermaltake. So the brand, it doesn't mean anything, because many times the designers, you know, the computer designers or motherboard designers or card designers, anything, most of the time they don't use the product. So they design the thing without having the technician in mind, or in this case, without building a computer. They know, maybe they have very little experience, and then they build something that is supposed to be good, and because, you know, it's kind of a standard like the other ones, they say, okay, just let's sell it, and it doesn't matter. So for instance, in this case, you have this big hole. Also, you have another thing that is good here. You have the computer, the power supply here, and you can put all the wires here and behind the computer case. So that will make your life easier as well, to make it look decent. So as you can see here, if you don't see cables or anything like that, everything will look much better. So in this case, this guy, he's using a water cooler, and here you have the big heatsink. In another cases, I'm going to show you now later in this video, I have a customer who brought a computer, and he wanted to put a huge passive heatsink. To me, it's better because it will not be as nice looking as this, but you know, you have no water, so there is no even a chance that there is going to be a leak or anything like that in the future. So as you can see, if you have a nice computer, your life, I mean, a nice computer case, your life will be easier. Here I have another one. As you can see, in this case, you put the SSD, the power supply, the hard drive in this area. So I'm going to show you here, power supply, hard drive here, and the SSD. So as you can see, everything should fit. Here it says for micro ATX and ITX. Also make sure that if you buy a computer case, make sure that it's going to fit the motherboard, because that will be another big mistake. Here they will tell you, you know, at least in advance, everything. Besides, if it's good looking or not, at least you know that. So I'm going to show you another one. So here, good thing, As you can see, we have the SSDs, we have the cooler and everything. We have the big hole that I was talking about. And let's move on to the next one. So here, as you can see, nice looking computer case, and you're thinking, okay, this seems to be decent. Okay, let's check those pictures here. And as you can see, there is no in these pictures you don't see any hole, so you don't know if it's going to work or not. Sometimes if you go here where it says rating, you're going to see the some pictures from the users, but you know, sometimes maybe it's a new product, there is no ratings and you don't know. So this is like you're taking your chances with this type of things. So I'm going to click here. Let's click here, and as you can see here, a few pictures, but we don't see what we are looking for. Okay, so here we saw something. Okay, they have the computer, the power supply here, and I don't see that. But just make your life easier in this case. Let's go to eBay. You will see, you know, some computer cases here. And let's go here, Thermaltake, because this is like a well-known brand. And if you're wondering, okay, all the computer cases, you know, they comes with that hole that you were talking about. So that is not the case. So we are in 2023, and maybe 2050, it might be the same issue. As you can see, this costs like 3 times more than the other computer cases that we were looking at. And again, here, if you pay attention to the picture, there is no hole here. So if you have to install, you know, a motherboard and you don't have the hole here, you may have to cut it yourself. So if you're going to buy a new computer case, you know, it's better to buy something that is going to be ready for you. So as you can see here, you have the computer, the video card here. And as you can see here, I'm going to zoom in so that way you can see. Here you put the video cards, you know, everything aiming towards the ceiling. I don't see any hole here. So let's go to the next picture. More pictures. We have the space, you know, for the motherboard here in this area, because here you're going to put the video cards and everything. As you can see, we have this. So hopefully it will be easier. Maybe easy to remove this panel, but if you don't have this panel in advance, much better for me, for you as well. So as you can see here, more pictures, and that's it. So if you're living in South America, because you know sometimes people in South America they use Mercado Libre, as you can see here, same thing. So we have nice looking pictures, and of course these people, they don't know how to sell, because if this was my listing, I would put, you know, pictures of the computer inside and everything, so the way well people can see this, they just copy and paste it from another place, and that's it. So here you have a fake motherboard, you know, a drone here, and that's it. You don't see anything. So if you have to buy here, you're risking. If you're buying a computer case here, you don't know what you're getting. And here I'm going to show you another one. Let's see here. Same thing. So you don't have no real picture. This is the only seems like a video, something like that, and that's it. So there is nothing else. Here you don't see anything inside of this computer case, and the computer case looks like it's the cheapest one that you can get. Let's try to play the video. All right, if you see, this computer case is using just the cheapest power supply, and no holes, no nothing inside. I don't see any. As you can see here, it's showing you just the front, that's it. And if you're new, you're not going to know any of this. Also, I don't know if you realize, but here on the other side you don't have any space, you know, any room to run the wire, so your computer is going to look like very, very messy. Here, this is the computer case, for instance, the one that my customer brought to me. I'm going to show you, because I have to remove the motherboard in order to install the new heatsink. So as you can see here, I'm going to show you from the beginning. So as you can see, we have the motherboard, you have the video card and everything. And here we have the huge heatsink that I'm going to be replacing, as you can see here. And because the computer case was, the CPU was overheating. As you can see, the new heatsink is as big as a soft drink. And I'm going to show you that in the other side, as you can see, you don't have the hole. So if you don't have the hole, you have to make your own hole here. So I will have to, here as you can see, I was reading a little bit here, and I had to remove everything. And you know, instead of wasting an hour taking everything apart, putting back together, if you have the hole like I showed you before, in 10 minutes you can have it done. So as you can see, we see here again, I'm flipping the computer on the other side. I just removed the motherboard here, and you have, you know, many cables and everything. So as you can see, I have to put the bracket here, because if you don't put those brackets, you're not going to be able to install it. So as you can see in the other side, I'm going to show you. I made another video about this, so if you want to see it, there you go. I'm removing everything. So if you see the other side, I don't have the bracket, so I have to remove the bracket that the motherboard came with and install the other one. So that way I was able to install this huge heatsink that you see here. So now I'm going to show you the hole that I have to make. I was using a plasma cutter, but if you want to use a grinder, angle grinder or something like that, you can do that. And as you can see here, I was able to install it. I had to remove the heatsink, again, because I had to use, in this case, the screwdriver, but with the screwdriver with the fan, it will not allow me to put it in place. As you can see here, you have the base that I was talking about. Here is on the side. Here is the screw. That is why I have to remove the fan, at least with this model. And here is what I'm talking about. You see this bracket that you have here is built in the computer case, and you cannot take it out without cutting it. So in this case, because the customer, you know, they wanted to upgrade the heatsink, there was no other way. So here I had to cut it with the plasma cutter, as you can see, and I was able to remove it and install the new one. And now I made a small mistake. I didn't realize I was damaging the table in the other side. But here, as you can see, I was able to put everything back the way it's supposed to, and everything started working just fine. So now I'm going to show you another computer case that you're not going to have this issue. So now let's jump in. If you see here this big hole, so if you have to buy a computer case, this is ideal, because you have the hole, and if you have to replace the heatsink, it will make your life way easier. Otherwise, if you have those cases, it's all metal, and you have to replace it, it will make your life harder, because as you can see, you have this is the heatsink, and in the other side, you have this plate on the bottom that you see over there. So that one is the one that you have to replace. So if you don't have access, you have to remove the whole motherboard in order to be able to replace it. As you can see here, when you have the other side of the computer case, you have these three. So that way you can just remove the heatsink in the other side, change the plate, put something else, and that's it. Because usually you're going to have this plate here in the other side of the computer case. But if you have, a big piece of metal here, you have to take it all apart in order just to replace the CPU. That is crazy.